This is Dead Male Tales. Let us know how we're doing by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, click the bell icon if you want to be notified when we find another letter. On with the story. My dearest Samantha, the outside world is even worse than I imagined. I did not make it to Corinth as planned. I'm lucky to have made it this far without dying. I should be dead. Had it been nighttime when the infected are faster and deadlier, I'd be gone forever. But I'm not. I survived. I survived this day because I needed to. And I will survive tomorrow and all the following days because that is what I must do to hold you again. A few miles back, the highway was completely blocked. A jackknife trailer was blocking the west lanes and a couple of abandoned wrecked cars were blocking the other side. I decided to go off-road, but the ground was wet and the embankment was too steep. The van just spun tires. I didn't want to get out of the van in that area, but I had no other choice. Once I got out of the van, I'd be completely exposed. I shut off my engine and just sat in the van for several minutes, listening through a cracked window. I heard nothing but wind. I sat there, studying my current situation and the scene on the road. The tractor trailer was askew in such a way that, if I could get it started, I could possibly use it to pull the van back out onto the highway. I could uncouple the trailer and only concern myself with the tractor. I hadn't done that since truck driving school back in Washington, shortly after I was discharged, but I remembered how to do it. Once I determined it was safe, I grabbed my shotgun and made my way over to the tractor trailer. The truck fired right up. I hit the trailer brake, disconnected the air hoses, lowered the landing gear and pulled the kingpin. I jumped back in the cab, backed up as far as I could to the highway's edge. The trailer was a flatbed that had been hauling steel coils. It was a lot of weight on the landing gear and I didn't want to be near it, but I had to have the chains that were securing the coils to the trailer. Ever so gently, I loosened the binders and removed the chains. Only the blocking kept the coils in place. After the van was back on the highway, I had planned on parking the trailer on the downhill side of the shotgun coils so they wouldn't roll off the trailer and kill the next passerby. The sun was getting low by this point. I could feel the danger in the air. I wasn't about to sit around and let the grass grow under my feet. I hopped right to it. I secured one end of the train to the tractor and the other end to the van. As I stood up, I tweaked my ankle and it immediately started hurting. I hobbled to the driver's side and put it in neutral. I then crawled up the embankment back to the truck. Slowly, I pulled the van up the embankment and back onto the highway. At this point, I was on the other side of the highway, behind the two cars blocking the road. I was also a decent length from the van. I put it in reverse, limped out of the cab, and disconnected the chain from the van. I needed to grab my shotgun, and I thought it was a good idea to take the chains with me, too. I released the chains from the tractor, painfully dragged them to the back of the van, and put them inside the cargo area. I got back to the cab to grab my shotgun, and I saw the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. There were at least 100 infected coming straight for me. The infected were about 30 yards out, and they were moving with a purpose. And I was that purpose. It wasn't a full-on nighttime run, but it was getting close. The shotgun was going to do me no good, and there was no way I was going to make it to the van on a bad angle before they got to me. Then I remembered the coils. I fired up the tractor, turned around, made a beeline towards the trailer. I rammed the trailer so hard I hit my head on the driver's side window. I was groggy for several seconds, but I saw the coils roll off the trailer, obliterating most of the horde. The coils unrolled and it looked like a mile-long silver toy water slide, speckled with different shades of red. I saw 3 of those things trying to get back up to their feet, but I was already out of the truck and hopping back to the van on one foot. I was about 20 yards away, and now they were on the move. One was clearly faster, running like a crazy banshee while the other 2 shambled. I didn't know if I could make it to the van before it caught up with me. I turned and fired twice, once hitting the leg and once hitting the abdomen. It stumbled a bit, but then resumed the chase. I gritted my teeth and hobbled on my lousy ankle as fast as I could, using my shotgun as a cane. As soon as I opened the van door, I felt it grab me. I spun around and fell back against the driver's seat. The thing was trying to tear me to pieces. It kept snapping at me with its teeth, trying to take a bite out of me. I was holding it off, but I didn't know how much longer I could do it. It let out the shrillest shriek I have ever heard, more beast than human. It must have been some type of call because hundreds of them began coming out of the tree line on the other side of the highway. I saw one shell lying on the floor under the steering wheel. Bad ankle and all, with everything I had. I pushed the thing back and it fell to the asphalt. I grabbed the shell and loaded it. The monster was back to its feet, lunging at me again. Boom. This time the shell struck the monster's head and it fell motionless. I didn't have time to think about it too much because all of the other infected were approaching fast. I got back in the van and escaped down the road. Honestly, I didn't want to keep going after that happened. I just wanted to find a safe place and curl up in the fetal position. I feel like a failure, knowing you could be out there in danger while I stop only after traveling a measly 35 miles. My heart wants to push on, but my head knows better. Here I am at this abandoned high school on the highway. Home of the Braves is painted on a banner draped across the front of the school. I know you wouldn't find anything amusing about the mascot, but admittedly, I laughed at the irony because I'm the only one around. It should more accurately say, temporary safe place for the last man on Earth who's scared out of his ever-loving mind, but that banner now has a yellow and black Nirvana smiley face over the word Braves. I know you'd appreciate that. Am I really the last man on Earth? I doubt it. At least I hope not, but I have not seen another non-infected person 35 miles. Of course, before this trip, no one would have seen me either. I imagine those still alive are hunkering down in a safe place, if safe places still exist. As I sit here, I think about the infected I wasted today. Up until that point, I wondered if they were still human. I no longer wonder that. I was face to face with one of them, and there was nothing human about it. There was no passion, empathy, sadness, love, or joy. There was no hatred, selfishness, or wickedness. It was neither good nor evil. There was only a dark, robotic emptiness that forced it to attack me. The attack was nothing more than an uncontrollable reflex. Maybe this is how the virus spreads. Or maybe they kill humans instead of infecting them. I'm not entirely sure what the end result would have been if the brawl had not gone my way, but perhaps I discovered something from that experience. At least I have a theory. These things are basically computers designed to do one thing: to attack. And the only way to destroy the information on a computer is by destroying the central processing unit. The brain is the CPU. That's why the thing kept pursuing me even after I hit it in the leg and the abdomen. These monsters don't function like humans. Hearts, lungs, other organs are just leftover parts they no longer need. However, they still need their brain, even if they only use it for one thing. That's why the one that attacked me dropped instantly when it was struck in the head, even though nothing else worked. Flesh and a single-function brain. That's it. There's nothing more to these things. It's just a thought, an educated guess to put it better. Perhaps I will need to stick around the school for a couple more days until my ankle is better. Once I've healed, I'll double back and take the Natchez Trace all the way to Natchez, Mississippi. I can then cut across the Butte to Louisiana. I want to avoid situations like today, and the Trace has always been lightly traveled. No commercial vehicles of any kind were ever allowed. There will be no jackknife trailers to contend with. I'll have to stop this side of Jackson to get fuel, possibly scavenge for food. I believe I'll be able to safely travel over 100 miles per day on the Trace, though I will still shut it down at night. I have every intention of stopping once late afternoon rolls around. There will be at least one smiley face somewhere along the Trace before hitting Jackson. Plus, I did bring along my fishing gear. If it's safe, I can possibly catch a fish or two. I should probably wrap this up and try to get some sleep. With any luck, my ankle will feel better tomorrow or the next day, and I can continue this long journey to Seattle. I wish we were together in our own bed tonight, in the peaceful world of yesterday. My heart just aches thinking about it. But I survived one more day, and that is all the hope I need to keep going. We will be together again, in a safe home wherever we make it, in the same bed whenever we sleep, and in each other's arms whenever we say, I love you. From the wasteland, Dalton.